Hey guys, go to hardafseltzer.com. Get some 8% seltzer shipped right to your house. We got the peach, we got the watermelon, we got the pina colada, and the blue raspberry. We're also available in over 200 stores in the state of Florida and Tennessee. And if you're heading out to the Major League ballparks this summer, make sure to check us out in the Miami Marlins Stadium, as well as Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays, as well as the Tampa Bay Rowdies. We are live inside all three stadiums. So if you're down in Florida this year, check us out. Go to hardafseltzer.com today and check your store locator or order them right to your house.
Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
Yeah, he remembers.
That was kind of a soft clap.
No, there was a mosquito.
No, it wasn't. It was a very soft clap. It was a very soft clap. It's almost as if you've never been on a TV show out in the woods before. It was a very soft clap. Yeah. And you can leave that all in, Delco. Welcome to Drinkin' Bros, kids. You know who's in here today by that soft clap, that little tiny soft voice.
Hi.
Justin Build the Wall Governale.
My mom is watching.
Did
She's
you
from
ever
Mexico. She's from
take
Mexico.
it? I understand that. And I remember.
Yeah.
Did you ever use it, though, during a fight?
I tried to, and then all the audience left because it was in San Antonio and they're all Mexican. So,
but I think most Mexicans support it. Once they're here,
oh, man.
legally, they're like, "Hey, dude, we don't want you've got to be honest. That's the truth."
My dad loved the name because my dad is white, right? And my mom was like, "No, that's not your fight name, Justin. It's La Máquina." And I was like, "Okay, geez." So I'm torn.
But
dude.
Bert has already taken that.
Yeah.
Bert Kreischer already took that.
Yeah, well, it depends. If I'm applying for a college application, that's not my fight name. But if I get pulled over by the cops and they're like, I pulled you over, I'm like, "Hi, my name is Justin Build the Wall Governale," and they're like, "Oh,
shit.
have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day."
Trump 2024.
Yeah,
we get it.
Yeah.
We get it. But the wild thing is, last time you were on, we had chatted about this off air. It wasn't public knowledge, and we weren't allowed to share it.
Yeah.
But since it has exploded, you did the TV show Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
Which is a massive show. And now you're the fucking thumbnail all over HBO and Max and whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah.
So I see your face every fucking day pop
dope.
up. It is dope.
Yeah. The only reason why I wanted to do the show is because I know that my ex-girlfriend loves Discovery and HBO. Right, so the only reason I wanted to do it so she could just see my face and cry.
Shut up!
Literally, I'm such a narcissist. That's the only reason why.
Is that true?
I didn't care about the show, dude.
Is that true?
I just want to hunt her. I hope you're watching this right now. I know you stalk everything I do.
Oh, it's great.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
God damn, that would be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed her. She's not around.
She's in my basement. She's not watching anything right now.
That'd be like if I divorced Jessie and ended up on at Magnolia on the Magnolia Network, with Chip and Joanna. She would be pissed for the rest of her life. Was she really a huge fan?
No, I'm making all that up, dude. But it is cool to be the thumbnail, right?
It is. But everybody is always asked, they're like, dude, get Justin back on, have him tell the story, the story. I was like, dude, he'll be on when he's in town.
Yeah.
First of all, how crazy has your life gotten from being on that show?
Dude, I've been doing a lot of comedy, right? It's great. I got my first headliner after I was on the show, right? Because I was just, you're doing guest spots or like small features at smaller venues. The show aired, all of a sudden, like, hey, do you want a headline in Laredo? It's my hometown, right? Bet, let's go. And they're like, 30 minutes. I didn't have 30 minutes. I had like 20. So it forced me to like write and all that stuff.
Did you do the whole show in Spanish?
Yeah. Yeah. They were like, Justin, Bill. And I was like, shh, no.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, dude, I headline, dude. I'm booked like all of June and July in comedy. It's like, it's so funny what a TV credit will do. Now I do comedy shows and they're like, as you've seen him on Naked and Afraid.
I was going to say, because they always need that one thing to tie you into, that one credit, and be like, oh, all right, somehow it adds validation to what you're doing.
Somehow you were cooler today than you were yesterday.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm the same dude. I was just naked in the jungle.
Yeah, Naked and Afraid, by the way, not a comedy show.
No.
So it's not relevant in any way.
It can be.
I got comedy material off of it. Like my whole bit is that like I pretty much skipped 15 years of marriage. Right? Like, in case you don't know what Naked and Afraid is, it's where you skip 15 years of marriage. They throw in the jungle with someone that you just cannot stand. You want to have sex with literally anyone else, right? And then I kind of just build it how like.
Did you have sex with any?
Yeah. Did you fuck the girl?
Wildlife or anything? Or?
You know what's crazy is when I was out there, I never want to speak to her again, right? After the show, she was messaging me on Instagram like, "Hey Justin, congrats," because I just posted like a selfie smiling after like 21 days. I was all skinny, and she followed me on IG and was like, "Congrats," and I was like, and then she just kept sending me messages, dude.
Really?
And would be like, "Hope all is well," and I left her on red every single time, and then one day she's like, "I'm getting the message that you don't want to ever speak to me," or like, I'm sure you have your reasons or whatever, but there's things that happen that you did not see on my episode. You're not technically supposed to talk about a lot of stuff that happens not on camera, right? Uh-huh. But there were some things that happened that I would love to talk about because I don't think I'm really violating anything. And nobody knows this, not even the cameras know this. But what had happened was I was giving her half of my food. She went hunting and fishing 0 times. 0. She went hunting and fishing 0 times. And then, as you saw on the show, I'd come back and I was like, "Hey, I caught some food." And she's like, "Oh, I'm not as fan of seafood." And I was like, what? And so
I worked my ass off.
Yeah, I worked my ass off. And she's like, "Yeah, well, I'm just carrying on, the stereotype, that women have that we never know what the fuck we want to eat ever." And I was like, "Oh, great." But
don't you love that? It's like a woman's acting like a total cunt. She goes, "Oh, I'm a Pisces." I'm like, "No, you're a cunt."
No, you're just a bitch. That's all. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
But yeah, dude, what actually ended up happening was I was carrying her and giving her a pep talk every day. She would just kind of fish for speeches, if you will. And I would be like, "Okay, no, you can do this. You can do anything you put your mind to." And I would just give her these motivating talks. And like, if you take a step back, in the Marine Corps, yeah, I was a scout sniper, right? Cool. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to be real. I was never the dude that was just like the best sniper on the planet, the best operator. But what I was, and anybody can attest to this that knows me, I've always been a motivator. I've always been like, "Come on, motherfucker, you go home on vacation and you tell everyone you're a sniper and you're over here saying that we're wondering if we're going to come on." And they're like, "Yeah, So that's what I did to her every day. But then I just couldn't do it anymore, bro. I didn't eat in like 10 days, like 0 bites of food for like 10 days. And she's just draining me, dude. And and every day I was like, "You can do it." So finally one day I'm like, as you see on the episode, I'm like, you're in or you're out. You're in or you're out, right? But what they didn't see was that I kind of flushed her out. And this is wrong in a way. This is not on any film. But what had happened was I'd go hunting and fishing all day. And then I'd come back and she'd be like, "Oh, I cleaned our shelter area." And I'd be like, "You clean?" She made like a little fake broom and was like sweeping the pathways. She's like, "So we don't trip at night." It's like, "So I don't trip at night because you don't fucking move. You stay in the shelter all day." And so what they didn't see was I'd come back empty-handed and I'd look and our shelter, it rained every single day and night, right?
Where were you, by the way?
I was in Guyana, right? It's like...
Where the fuck is that?
It's Jonestown is? The Jonestown Massacre?
Oh, yeah, right there?
Yeah, like a few hours from there.
Shit, that's amazing. You stopped by afterwards to get some pics?
I wanted to, but I had to go, and bro, to be honest...
You could have got a Kool-Aid sponsorship.
I know, that would have been great.
That would have been dope. Fucking, "Hey, drink."
Yeah, drink Kool-Aid. You crashed through like the Kool-Aid man?
Yeah. Joke's on you, we're all gonna die, right? And so... what they didn't see was I would come back empty-handed, and then she didn't do anything, right? And I shouldn't shit on her too hard because she still made it 16 days, which is hard as fuck. It was brutal. But it rained every day from like 2 hours to like 6 hours every single day, like bad. And she would never fix the shelter. So I would get back empty-handed, and I'd be like, "Well, I don't want to get wet today." So I would just fix the shelter. Mm-hmm. Well, after days and days of doing that, one day she was just so annoying that I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'll get hypothermia. I don't give a fuck." So I purposely didn't prepare the shelter knowing that it was going to rain. And so at night, every day, she'd be like, "Can we cuddle?" And at first I'd be like, "Yes." But after a while, I was so annoyed that I was like, "Okay, we're not cut." So it started raining and she didn't even ask. She would like put her arm around me. And I would be like, I'm not feeling it today. And she'd be like, please, I'm really cold. And I'd be like, I'm just not feeling it. And it would rain. I'm talking, we're soaking wet. It's getting like 60 degrees at night. The wind's blowing. And we also had a hole in the back of our shelter where I would fix the door every day. And so now I didn't fix the door. I didn't fix the roof because all the foliage would die off. And we're getting soaked, bro. And she was like, "Please, can we cuddle? Please, please." And I'm like, just not feeling it. And she would turn around and she got in some weird yoga position and she's like shivering and she's like, oh, I'll just be cold again. And I'm like curled up and I'm like smiling, dude. Like I can feel my teeth like shivering together. Like I'm like, stupid bitch. Fucking, right. Not that any women are bitches, right? I don't want to cancel myself.
Not at all.
Now I've been on TV, right?
It's fine.
But dude, that happened 3 days in a row where she's like, please, can we cuddle, please? And I'm like, no, I'm not down. And I purposely just wasn't fixing the shelter. And so like, oh, also backstep. What she told me off camera was, I can be cold, I can be wet. I cannot be cold and wet. And I was like, bet.
So you knew.
Yeah. She told me like that is literally my breaking point. So I was like, thanks for playing.
Great, let's
like,
get her there and get her the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because it was taxing, bro. Like I had to carry, like, again, I went hunting and fishing. I caught food several times and I shared everything with her, right? I barely had any food and I shared everything. And then as you watch on camera, it's implied, but I ended up figuring it out. She kind of like eats berries behind my back, right? It's like implied on the show, but when I watch, I was like, I don't remember that part.
Sure.
So she ate berries behind my
So
back.
she was sneaking food.
Yeah, she was sneaking food. So point being, after the episode aired, Discovery reached out to me and they were like, hey, we just want to know update. How's your life going? And they ask you certain questions and like, please answer these in a video. And one of the questions was, how's the relationship with you and your partner? Do you speak? Do you not? So I didn't bash her per se because I don't like doing that unless if I'm on this podcast right now, right? But
Of course.
But I pretty much said, oh, in terms of my partner, it's a personal decision. I can't say what I just said, right? It's a personal decision. I just decided not to speak with her. And she still followed me on IG. And like immediately after they aired that on their Instagram page, she just unfollowed me. And I was like, yes, right?
Oh, you finally broke free.
Yeah. And this isn't me being a dick. This is me just being honest, bro. Like if you watch the show, dude, she would complain like the show doesn't do it justice. She just complained the whole time. And there's only so much you can do, bro. Like if you're out, like I did not eat for 10 days. I lost 38 pounds, dude.
You were not the same person. Bob, pull up a picture of Justin Governale naked and afraid. Because when this aired, obviously we had done the show and you told us before that you had done it and it hadn't aired. We weren't allowed to talk about it on the podcast, which we didn't. But you didn't show us any pictures when we got off camera here in the studio. So when I saw these pictures pop up on all the feeds, I was like, holy shit.
Click on that. That's the beginning.
Okay, so this is the beginning of it here.
So I blew myself up on purpose.
On purpose.
They tell you maybe like very little time. Like you have no time to prepare for this, dude. They just hit you up and they're like, hey, you've already said yes, you passed the process, and then they just, boom, here's your ticket. And they have to give you a ticket.
How many days? Yeah. How many days in advance notice did you get?
It's not much. I won't say exactly because of the whole NDA thing, right?
Okay.
But it's not much, but.
Under 2 weeks?
Under 2 weeks,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
They literally hit you up and they're like, here is your ticket. And so they still don't tell you what region you're going to. They just say, this is your flight. And you're like, okay, let me look this place up. Oh, wow. So if you look at that photo, I stopped training jiu-jitsu, right? And I was eating ice cream for like dinner. I was eating pizza for lunch. I was having beer for like breakfast. I was
Smart.
I was just
Carbon up, yeah.
and I blew up, dude. But if you look at my photo after, I lost 38 pounds in 21 days, dude. Granted, 10 of those pounds are probably bullshit weight. But, dude, like, I was not eating. And the difference is if you want to stay dry, you have a machete, right? Mm-hmm. You have to constantly just hack. But you start turning into, like, a hippie, dude, in a weird way, right? Because you truly become one with, like, the earth. It's going to sound super cliche, but it's super true, right? Like, you look around. This is what we do all day, bro. Like, you're at a stoplight. What do? People do this. Not me, because I'm perfect, right?
Yeah, you're on the phone.
Yeah. So everybody does this. They're bored. They do this. You're at a line getting coffee. You do this. Everyone does this. They don't sit and think, or they watch TV, but you don't have that now. So what do? As humans, we say stuff like, animals are so smart, or like, the bugs, dude, have you ever noticed that, dude, they're actually more intelligent than we give them credit for? Dude, these signs around us 24/7. But we don't look around. We look in our phone, right? Mm-hmm. So when I was out there, one day, it didn't rain for like 3 days, 2 or 3 days. And I look, and I saw a bunch of ants crawling up a tree. And I look, and I'm like, that is very strange. And then I look to another tree right next to us, and there's a ton of fire ants going up it. And then something clicks, because I'm not looking at my phone, and I'm like, it's going to rain really fucking hard. It's going to rain really hard, because why else would the ants all be, because they're in tune, right? Because they don't have a fucking phone to look at, and they're ants, right? But
Well, they're talking about an ant phone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
They made this stupid Apple headset.
Yeah,
instead.
Steve Jobs is dead, so he kind of fucked that up for ants.
Yeah.
So that model got scrapped, unfortunately, for those guys.
But yeah, that's what you notice, bro. Like, so you look around and you have an epiphany and you're like, prepare for rain. Prepare for rain. Let's fucking go. And you just start preparing. My partner's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's going to rain. It's going to. And sure enough, it rained 6 hours. Brutal fucking rain, dude. Just like, I was just trying to keep my fire alive, dude. I was like blowing like, right? And they also didn't show one part. And again, I'm not supposed to talk a ton about what happened off camera, but they didn't show one part when I took a risk and I actually drank, because they only have, my episode is 2 hours. They only have 2 hours to paint the picture, right? But there was one moment when we didn't have fire for 36 hours, meaning I didn't have water for 36 hours. And dude, it was like 100+ degree. It was fucking terrible. So at the end of 36 hours, I'm like, I'm trying to get this fire going, but I don't have any energy, bro. I was literally like, we finally got it. But what I did was I was just like, fuck it. I'm so thirsty. And I went to like this green pond and I just drank water. And I remember looking at the camera and they were looking at me and they're like, what are you doing? And I looked at the producer and I'm like, this next commercial break is brought to you by Pond Water Tea. And I just started drinking, right? Another thing that did not happen behind camera, they follow you everywhere, like 24/7, right?
Yep.
And except for at night, they legitimately leave you. But yeah, they're following me, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do something super boring that's not worthy of content right around the corner, right? I was like, I'm gonna go do whatever, and they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'll be right back, and I'm acting like I'm finding something to burn. In reality, I just ran behind a bush, and I was like,
Dumping out.
diarrhea, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't let them see that is because in my mind, they're gonna produce an episode, and it's gonna come out on TV, and I was like, I cannot let them think, I can't let my ex-girlfriend know that I'm weak.
Yeah.
Right? So
Because she would have, in her mind, all she's thinking of, oh, man.
he doesn't shit. He's so perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
And now that would have ruined it.
Yeah.
And
So-
you just dumping out, and then people would have memed it and then put it in slow-mo and then scored it to the Harambe
Yeah.
song and all that shit. Bob, real quick, pop up the picture of him after he lost the weight, because this is the thumbnail that is now on HBO and all that stuff. It's right there, dead center with the...
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking apocalyptic. or some shit.
Exactly. I barely fucking recognized you, dude.
Dude, don't
was
I look the same? I don't look the same. What are you talking about, bro?
No, you look like a fucking caveman, dude. I mean, it's nuts.
Dude, I look hot, dude.
So when you are going through this,
I look so hot, bro.
and you get to the end of it, because I'm assuming you don't have a mirror, and you look at yourself looking like this.
Yeah.
What is your first thought?
That's what I look like when I cut weight for a fight. I believe I was 142 pounds, right, when it was done.
And you fight 145, right?
I fight at 135, 145, right? I've done some 35s. As I get older, it's harder to make that weight, right? But regardless, you look at that face, dude. I am at 142, and I'm not dehydrated. Like, I haven't been water loading or anything, right? And to be honest, when I got done, they were like, we're gonna weigh you before you eat and drink. We need to weigh you. And I was like, yeah, hold on, let me just drink some fucking water, because I was dying from like the movement. So I drank a bunch of water, and they still weighed me at 142, meaning when I wake up for the day of a weight cut for a fight, I am at 142, and I have to cut down to 136, right? 0.0 or 135. So I was legitimately fully depleted, dude. Like, that photo is real as fuck, dude. And like, I knew again that it was gonna be on TV, so I wasn't gonna be like, so I fucking, they're like, look at the camera, and I'm like, but dude, look, I'm like round in this picture, or like in my visual now versus that. Like, you see my cheekbones.
I mean, you look like you're in a fucking tribe in South America. I mean, this is nuts, dude.
It was dope, dude. It was
I didn't recognize it at first when it popped up, because I would see the Instagram posts and everything else. And then I was like, wait a minute. Fuck, man, I keep seeing this photo, because a bunch of Drinkin' Bros had posted it and everybody else when you were on the show. And I was like, that's Justin? Holy shit, dude.
It's actually not the thumbnail. That's the final photo. But what they did was they took a before and after, and they put like a stick between it, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
meshed
yeah.
it together, right? That's
it's
the thumbnail.
dope. It's dope as fuck. So let's get into the top of the show here when it first starts. So they give you rankings of what your survival skills are and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
With what you just said about your partner, did any of those numbers match up for her skills or your skills?
Definitely not, bro. Definitely not.
I fucking knew it, dude. When I watched that show, I was like, where do they come up with these numbers? There's no way that's real.
So what they do when they interview you is they ask you a bunch of questions. Like, I was myself the whole time. I swear to God, in one of the interviews, and again, NDA, right? But like, I'm not really revealing too much. And one of them was they interview you, and I thought about it, and I was like, I mean, I could sit here and fucking lie and just be like, oh no, I'm fucking make fires with.
I was never in the military.
Never in the military.
I was an airsoft guy.
Which, to be real, the military doesn't help you at all. I swear to God.
Really?
They teach you some basic
No,
shit.
they give us everything.
They give you food, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We're not
it's
forging
true.
and shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They-
Well, I didn't know if during like basic, you know, when you go through, when you guys are just rolling around and doing shit, and they're spraying you with
Bro.
water, and
I learned.
I mean, it sucks, but it's not. It doesn't suck because there's no food.
Yeah, they do like a survival week, right? In sniper school, and it was like 5 days. Like, you don't eat unless you catch or kill it. And you want to know what I learned how to survive is just you're not gonna eat for 5 days. Don't run around, because at first you see rabbits and you like make spears, and you're like running and you're chasing them, and like on day 3 you just see this rabbit and you're like, fucking cocksucker, like I'm not gonna waste my energy. And then when it's day 4, you're like, we're out of here tomorrow. And then on day 5 you're like, whatever, tonight I eat, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like a mentality thing. But when I was out there, I kind of tried to apply that. The first 6 days, I ate 0 bites of food because I was working on my shelter. And then you're like, well, shit, if I don't fucking go out and get anything, I'm not going to eat. So you start figuring it out, right?
What did you figure out? What did you kill something?
Yeah, I caught crab and fish, right? And I know they show like a small snippet on the show. There was things that happened like, bro, I caught a crab. One day I was just... something again in your DNA, like, dude, it is in your fucking DNA to survive. I mean that shit, right? Like,
but it wasn't in hers.
what's up?
It wasn't in the girls. It seemed like.
I was gonna make a joke, like, not yet. But,
Well, I mean, so women's version of survival is to cozy up to a man. That's
Well-
how it works throughout all of human history.
back in the day, that's not a sexist comment. That's like,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There was hunters and gatherers. There
Yeah.
was the, anyway, but
Well, usually the gatherers share the gathered berries, but
She was eating them behind your back.
yeah.
She was just gathering and not hunting.
watching daytime television.
Gathering them and putting
She's
them in her
watching
mouth.
soap operas and eating, just throwing blueberries into the back.
She was
of
having
the
you
gullet.
act out parts and shit
Yeah.
from Days of Our Lives in front
No,
of her.
no,
while
he
she
was doing
snacking on
He was
berries.
doing Simple Jack.
You
make me happy.
Make me happy. She was like, great, go back out and get some more food.
You fat fuck.
Yeah, so none of the numbers matched up with hers.
Yeah, like, again, in the interview process, I was like, I could sit here and lie or just be me. I'm always myself, dude, right? Even right now, I'm not. This isn't an act. This is Justin Governale at all times. And during the interview process, towards the very end, there's 2 things that happen that I think are pretty funny. One of the things is they said, what can you not stand in a partner? And I literally said on the interview, and there was like a board of humans like watching you at the same time, and they make you set up your computer all perfect in a certain way. And for like an hour before the call, they're like, no, someone's job in their mission in life is like, no, turn it up a little more. And it's just an hour of you talking to some random human to get the perfect angle on your computer. And they're like, all right, that's good. Wait here. And then boom, a board of humans pop up, right? And they're like, hi. You should feel nervous, but I don't care. And one of the questions that they asked was, what can you not stand in a partner? And a nice smile, and I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing. This is where you pair me with someone I can't stand.
Yeah.
So in that case, whatever you do, don't pair me with a big booty Latina woman. Yeah. And I thought it was funny, but everybody on the board was just like, and the guy's like, I'm being serious, Mr. Governale. And I was like, and then I said some things, and that's half of what I got, right? And it was just like, okay. Pretty much, my thing in life is, dude, complaining gets you nowhere. In life in general, right? Like, we could sit here and be like, if you just say, I'm hungry nonstop, unless you're a baby, like, nothing's going to change.
That's the rule in the military. You can bitch, but you got to do
Yeah.
as well. That's
Right.
it. Because we all bitch constantly about everything. It could be perfect outside. You're like, that sun's a little too nice today.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah. And so that's what happened. And then the other thing is, if I am being 100% honest, I had never watched an episode of Naked and Afraid, ever. I just got...
What made you want to do it then?
A buddy of mine reached out to me, and he said, I think you would be perfect. And I said, okay. And he goes, do you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be fucking dope.
I said that when we first heard you were going to be on. I'm like, oh, he'll win.
Yeah, that's what I thought
He's
too.
the one guy that I know if he went on that show because you're too dumb to quit.
Oh, yeah, I will never quit.
Yeah.
I will never fucking
You'll
quit.
die
And
before
I
you
think we
quit.
said it on his show after you had left.
Yeah.
Later, after it was about to air, because I think we announced a watch party I think you were having a watch party on a Sunday night at a bar or something, and we announced it on the show. And I was like, I bet he fucking wins. We said the same thing on air. We were like, hey, I bet he fucking wins. And then as far as getting naked and all that shit, like, is it real what you see on TV where, hey, dude, you're meeting your partner for the first time? Or do you guys meet beforehand, get naked, and kind of do it?
No, the way that it worked with me was they made me like, all right, cool, because of course, like, there's production involved, right? But what they do was, I remember there was one individual in particular that was like super, like, I almost wanted to get mad, dude. Every time I would try and like look over, he's like, no, look that way. And then I was like, okay. And he was like, we are very serious about getting a real reaction. So I just completely turned around and like, I would try and turn and he would get upset at me. So when I met my partner, that was actually real, right? I like walked up and in the distance, of course, your first thought is like, is she hot, right?
Of course, yeah.
And I started walking up and I was like, oh, and she's like, hi. And she was actually really cool at first, right? It was cool until she started getting really hungry. And I started getting really hungry. You're right, you're just two hungry individuals just pissed off. But showing it on camera, I knew for 1 second that if I cried, they're gonna turn that into a fucking 6-minute snippet of the episode.
Yep.
Right. So I was just like, show zero. Like, again, I've got it fucking tattooed on me. Right. Equanimity. Right. Oh, dude, that was another perfect thing. But whatever. Bottom line, I was out there and I'm like, you're gonna be on fucking television, dude. So just show zero. Fuck yeah, I was hungry, dude. Fuck yeah, I was in pain, dude. I was eaten alive by bugs. Like, if you look at photos of my body, I've got scars. My skin still has fucking issues, dude. If you like were to zoom in, I have like these weird, like, my skin's fucked up still, right? Permanently, dude.
Well, that was, so we...
Take your clothes off or stop talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Stop
Either
bitching.
get naked and start being
right.
afraid here or fucking leave.
What'd you do for
Justin.
lube out there?
Tears and spit.
Yeah.
Tears aren't so great. Spit works.
Yeah, spit.
you
Also,
get
bio works too, but it kind of burns because of the the acid in it.
Obviously.
Right? And so.
But we've met a couple people from Survivor, some friends of ours who have been on Survivor over the years. They said the same thing about the bug bites, where it's just the scars
fucking terrible,
never
dude.
went away
No?
for like fucking 2 years.
Dude, I've got this weird thing going on right now where only the black in my tattoos are like,
It's racist.
they're
Yeah,
all
it is
they're all
racist,
raised.
It's no, it's racist.
Oh,
dude.
raised.
It's 'cause
Oh,
it's
wow.
black, yeah.
Wow.
It's only going after the black.
Those
ink.
bugs are racist, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, it's only like, I'm telling you, if you were to rub your finger on here,
Definitely not going to do
take
that.
your word for it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
take
not
your
trying to
word
get
for
whatever
that.
age you got in the fucking
Me
jungle.
neither, dude.
if you were to rub your finger on here, dude. Oh, hell yeah. But yeah, dude, there's that, and then, fuck, I lost my train of thought. I was
With the
gonna
bug bites. So they never went away. My two people who were on Survivor, friends of mine, they said, dude, it was like 2 years. It never went away. The other part is as far as getting naked in front of somebody else or changing or shitting or pissing and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
When you do that, are you not self-conscious? I mean, because you're in open air.
At first, you
About
are.
your fucking girth length, balls, dick, all that other shit.
You're trying to
And then
keep a semi the whole time.
Right, and then what she's going to think, right? Your partner.
You don't really give a fuck, dude. The whole being naked thing is weird for like 2 hours, right? Because at first you're like, oh, I just met this person, and then you're like, fuck it. And you also have your bag with you, right? And you like kind of use it to cover your junk.
I would be
occasionally.
way more concerned about protecting my dick and balls than what that bitch thought, frankly.
Like,
Because of bugs?
For everything. If you're in the
Gotcha.
jungle, you're like swinging around. I'm a very clumsy man. And I will turn into, I run into walls and shit. I trip, hit my hands. I have scars all over my hands just from walking in my own home.
oh, you got the scars on your penis from the warts and the herpes.
That's something else.
That's a whole different war.
There's actually something that white nudists talk about a lot, which is sunburned penis, which is
Oh, I've never had one
horrifying.
of those. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, is that
They're
real?
Like, they're like, I didn't realize, I didn't think about it, and I got the first time I did my nudist thing, like or whatever, my penis got horribly sunburned.
I've had some.
Really?
I've had some rug burn on the side of my dick before from fucking the couch, obviously.
Yeah. I got my...
Which is my first STD. My only STD ever was having sex with a couch and getting a little rug burn on the side of my dick.
Okay. Yeah, I got mine. I slammed mine in a microwave door, heating up a Hot Pocket years ago. But
Nice.
Yeah.
I,
it was,
That's not how you do it, by the way.
and it was above a fridge, the microwave.
I cut the clap one time. That was great.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
You got rid of it?
I mean, yeah.
It's gonorrhea. It's not that big a deal.
Just
It's not like
penicillin.
you can't die from
You
it.
want to know what's so funny is I actually told all my friends, like, oh, dude, I got the clap. And they were like, oh, haha. Every guy was like, first time, right? Or like, haha. And then we're hanging out with one girl who's like super cool. She's also super hot, but she's like the friend in the group. We all treat her like a dude. And she was just like, ugh, gross, Justin, gross. And then but when they test you for everything. So all I did was like gaslight her and flip it on her. Oh, nice. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
This is what came up for sunburned penis.
Wow.
Damn it,
okay,
man.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, does it make it that small?
There's no way that airs. There's no way this comes out on
No, it does. We can see this. The audience cannot see that.
Jesus Christ. It's like, Jesus Christ.
No,
This is an Asian
Only
man.
we can see this.
They do
Yeah.
they do butthole sunning over
Yeah.
there, so this
But
makes sense.
He's older because there's gray pubes there.
Yeah,
But,
a gray pube fucking Asian man. That's what
Jesus
we're looking
Christ.
at. Keep looking at it.
Yeah.
For another 20 minutes or so.
This is preparing you for.
Oh, the next Naked Afraid. Okay, anyway. But yeah, all I did was I just gaslit her into thinking, like, because she was like, gross, Justin, for sure it's gross. So all I did was like, okay, first of all, this shit goes away in a week and they tested me for everything. So here in like 3-4 days, I'm 100% clean. When's the last time you got tested? And she's like, 8 months ago. And then I was like, you disgusting bitch. You don't even know what you have. And then all my guy friends that were with us were like, it's actually a good point. They're like, fucking gross. And she's like, okay, no. And so the rest of the night, the whole joke of the night was that she's disgusting because she hasn't been tested in 8 months.
Yeah.
But like I flipped it because I currently was out at a bar with the clap.
Yeah, you had chlamydia.
Yeah. No, it's actually not. It's not
gonorrhea.
It's gonorrhea.
Was it gonorrhea?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've
great.
never had it. I've
Yeah.
never gotten any of the fun
Wow,
things.
must be nice. White privilege.
Yeah,
white privilege,
dude. They know. White privilege just
Yeah.
gets everything out of your body. But you
Crabs,
got to take
though.
that picture down. I can't look at that
Yeah,
anymore.
dude. I'm
friends.
like looking.
Mine's frozen. It's
Nope.
weird.
No, can't.
It's not.
God damn it, Bob.
What's so funny? He's like, I've heard this. He's like, it was so specific about that too. He was like, dude, I've heard this thing from white nudists. It's called sunburned penis, and we're like, oh,
then
cool.
he had it
Thanks,
right away.
thanks for
Yeah.
chiming in. And like
That's
immediately,
his dad's dick right there.
Yeah,
That's what we're looking
immediately,
at. This
he's
is
like,
from a
how does
family,
it feel?
It's from a family photo.
Yeah, the
album.
difference is we're not going to traumatize and maybe take our own lives later, and you might.
Bob,
you
this is
Yeah, he's
dark.
projecting right now,
You got to
dude.
get this out of my face, Bob.
Here's how
we
you
have
can
a show
tell.
to do.
Here's
I
how
love
you can tell
gotta
it's
take
a
this.
picture from his family. If you zoom out and look in the background, there's still sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there sure is.
Yeah.
Everybody's picking cotton. Now with her, let's flip it, and let's say she was a hard worker. Forget about her looks. Forget about everything else. Would that have made you more attractive and more attentive to her if she actually did the things that were listed of like, all right, she's going to help me survive. She's going to get food. She's going to clean up the house or at least build a shelter.
Yeah, dude, 1000%.
Okay.
A relationship doesn't matter if you're on a TV show. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. It doesn't matter if it's a spouse, a partner. A relationship is a relationship. A business relationship, like in general, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to pay an employee nonstop to work when they're not giving you anything in return.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
It also doesn't make sense to grind yourself to powder for somebody who's not fucking paying you.
Of course, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
But
and-
in the male-female dynamic, women want to be heard and protected, right? And men want to be appreciated and respected. Those are the two things that each one of the genders want. And by the way, there's only two of them. Just to
No, but what?
Yeah, I know it's weird, right?
it is bizarre. Hey, what if you went to a zoo and there was all kinds of tranny animals out there?
And we didn't know
How
about
funny
it?
would that shit be?
Great.
I mean, if
They all
they
switch.
should remake Madagascar, and it's like, oh, fucking the lion transitioned.
Yeah.
He
And-
cut his whole mane off.
And all of them have elephant penises.
Oh, yeah. Well,
just because they
Dude,
can.
I saw a meme the other day that said, like, if there's 101 genders, then why is there only 2 genders in dogs? And it's like male and female. And it's like, good point.
Yeah.
Right? A, B, I live in gentrification, San Antonio, right? So, yeah, I do call the cops quite a bit because I get threatened all the time. Like, guys, broad daylight, smoking meth. And they'll be like, I'm going to kill you. Keep walking. And I always carry a pistol.
is it Mohicans or whites doing that?
They're all non-binary, dude. They're all non-binary.
They're
they're all inclusive, dude.
They're
all
ethnically non-binary.
But they still have a race.
What's that?
They still
No,
have a
they're
race.
No, okay, so here's the thing.
They're ethnically
I called-
non-binary. Yeah.
Oddly enough, I called the cops today because a group of 3 were congregating and threatening the trash trucks, right? Like a trash truck stopped and the guy got down and they were like, yeah, something about killing him. And I just want him out of my neighborhood because I pay like $1,000 in taxes every month, dude, that don't even go to my mortgage. So I'm like, oh, hey, cops, what's up? Me again. And then it's my half white side calling, right? Because I'm half white. And
Yeah.
so I call, and then they're like, oh, okay, can you give a description? I give a description. And then they're like, what race are they? And I was like, and I'm like sweating. And then they said, like, do you have a better description? Are they black, white, Hispanic? And I like almost wanted to make a joke and be like, first of all, I don't see race, right? Or I don't see color, but I have to give a fucking description.
They're not going to love that joke on the phone.
What's up? No.
Yeah, because it's on a recorded line.
It's on a recorded line, so they're gonna be like, "Sir, can you just tell me, okay, on a scale from Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
exactly.
Let's just not even.
From Casper to
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, it's like you're not being fucking racist. You're just giving a description, right? Like it's binary. It is fucking binary, dude. I don't.
Well, with meth though, it can be hard to tell sometimes.
It sure can.
Yeah.
What race were they? I got 2 in mind. Out of the 3 you mentioned.
Actually, there was.
If it's meth, I would say white and Mexican, to be honest.
So it was actually 2 white males
Yeah.
and 1 Hispanic male. And I just looked at them like, "Are you gonna assume my gender?" It's like I assumed you're a crackhead.
I didn't have
first of all.
Hispanic on the meth bingo
Oh
card,
yeah,
actually.
meth. Black people don't do meth. I mean, I'm sure there are black
whites.
people who do meth.
Whites
but
is what I had on there.
White and Mexican would
Yeah.
be the meth guys.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So now that it's over, when it does well, do they give you the ratings, and then do they ask you back for something like this? Because to my knowledge, the last few times I've watched Naked and Afraid, they don't come back and they don't have like an all-star edition like Survivor. How does that work out?
They pretty much, you have to stay in contact after. There's an editing process.
Yeah, because you said they called you back and had you answer a bunch of questions about how you're doing and shit.
Yeah. So like you just kind of, again, with signing the whole NDA process, you just kind of, you're in communication. You are forever a cast member, right? And
Okay.
sometimes all the former cast members may or may not get emails, but I'll kind of leave it at that, right? And I guess if they like you, they include you. If they don't like you, they don't, right? But
What about other shows?
It's- yeah,
is there
'cause
like
it's
a
very-
non-compete that you can't go on Big Brother or some shit like that?
I believe I don't remember exactly what the contract says, but there might be something to that extent, But
Well, the reason I ask is take Survivor, for example. The 2 friends that I had that were on Survivor, if you were a great cast member and the audience loved you, they would bring them back for this all-star edition. They would also send you around the world to be the kind of the spokespeople for the show itself. So you would go and meet other countries because it's not just here that this airs.
Oh, yeah.
So it airs around the world, and then they would literally fly them to Japan, Australia, all this other stuff, and be the spokespeople for Survivor. And essentially my buddy, one of them, made like a 3-4 year career out of it, of just being a dude on Survivor.
Yeah.
It was super fucking weird. And I didn't see him for, 3 or 4 years after
I mean,
that.
shit, Christmas was on.
I know, Big Brother
like
for
fucking 8 different times. or
8
some shit.
different
and met her
times.
husband on fucking Big
That's
Brother.
true, they're married.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For years now.
They're
so.
married.
yeah.
So I wondered how that works out, or if it's just kind of a one-off there. I don't know the rules.
The way it works is, in general, and this includes like my episode that I was on and all that stuff, is you cannot talk about anything until post-production, right? So even if or if humans are ever invited back, or if they are on other stuff, they can't talk about it. They can't even say like, "Oh, I was invited," or literally, it's complete silence until the network says anything. And the way that I found out, because I couldn't tell anybody, the way that I found out was one day I just woke up and I had like 30 million tags on Instagram, and I was like, "What the hell?" And they came out with a reel for their we're about to
upcoming
do
season?
the season premiere, and I was like, "What? Why is everyone tagging me?" And it's just like all this content. I saw my partner. There's people crying, and at the very end, it's like, and it's like me, and it's like, an ant bit my ball sack. Why? And it's like, naked and afraid. And I was like, okay, that's the only part of the teaser that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
But because the whole time, to be honest, I was fucking around. I was just joking. There was a camera guy. What is his name? Chase. Dope as shit. Such a cool dude. We still communicate. Occasionally, we still speak on the phone. I didn't even know the dude, but after a few days, like, you're naked, they're not, right? So I would, like, walk up, and I'd turn and I'd look at him, and I'd be like, and I would nod at him when nobody else is looking, and I would just look at him, make eye contact, and he would kind of, like, look around, like, what? And I would look at him, and I would have my bag in front of my junk, and I would just, like, move it and look down, and I would look at him, and, like, day 1, he would laugh. Day 2, he would laugh. I tried it, like, on day 6, and I, like, look at him, and I was like, and I move my bag, and he would just, like, look at me and be like,
No, joke's over.
right? Like,
Too many days in a
he
row,
didn't think-
friend.
And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, you should have tried your butthole on day 4.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that would have been hilarious.
Because the other thing that I'll get into, like, and I won't say his name, but what he said about Survivor, which I wanted to ask you about Naked and Afraid, was he said they got so hungry, guys and girls, that girls were offering up fucking blowjobs to cameramen for like fucking candy bars, shit like
Dude,
that.
I've heard that from other people, right?
I don't think it would work with just 2 people, though.
Well,
If it was a bigger
I don't
group-
know. I mean, how many people are out filming with you guys? And like, you know, with Homegirl being as fucking frail as she was, no offense, and no offense to her, she seems like the type of person who would just be fed up with it in the middle of the night and just be like, look, I'll suck a dick for a Snickers.
I mean, that never happened, right?
Honestly, I think it would have been him
Yeah.
sucking the dick for Snickers.
Well, for sure.
Yeah,
But
come on, bro.
You, I expected. But does that go on, and are you allowed to do that? Because I know Survivor, I think, had to switch out cameramen every 4 hours because of shit like that. Like, I mean, it got pretty fucked up for a while.
I mean, I saw zero of that. And to be honest, dude, the episode was excuse me, it was pretty real in the sense that like I couldn't start a fire, and like I swear to God, like 8 hours, dude, I was just trying to start this freaking fire, and it was so wet that I couldn't do it. And the camera crew just waited like feet away from me, and they all just sat there super bored. And what sucks is they're all getting eaten up too by bugs, but they all have like stuff they can wear, and I'm sure they wear bug spray and all that. And dude, it was like a whole day and a half of me trying to start a fire, and they were just. And it's like, I'm sure they're bored out of their mind.
It's got to be miserable.
Right? It's got to be bored. You got to just
Yeah.
like, you're watching like some naked dude, right?
Trying to start a fire, and it's
Yeah.
fucking pouring down rain.
Yeah. Well, no. Like, I didn't try and start it in the rain, but it stopped raining and everything around you gets wet, so you can't like start anything. So you start learning to find ways to keep stuff dry, right?
Gotcha.
Like you'll like get you'll like find a rock and you'll put like a rock under it, right? And you'll be like, this stays in the shelter and this piece of grass stays dry, right?
Okay.
Kind of stuff. And all you need is a tiny little piece of coal, like tiny, right? And so when it would rain real hard and it was soaking wet, I would spend hours just blowing like, right? Just keeping a little piece of charcoal alive, and then it would stop raining and I would be like, I fucking hate my life. And my partner would sleep the entire time. And she'd wake up, and I'd have like a little ember going, and then
I mean, the rule is you keep the fire going no matter what.
you have to,
right?
Yeah.
24/7. Which
Which
also,
would have been nice to have a partner doing that.
Which also, yeah. Dude, she used to wake me up when the fire was going out, and she would literally turn and go, Justin, and I'd be like, oh, what's up? I haven't fucking slept, and she'd be like, fire, and she'd go back to sleep, and I'd be like, oh, if she doesn't do it, I will. And my mentality was, if I do 90% and she does 10, that's still 10% of shit I don't have to do initially. But then eventually I was like, wait a minute, I think there's no such thing as 110%. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, right? Like, fill this water bottle 110%. It's not real, right? But point being, I was using, instead of being optimal at like 70%, I was redlining myself to like 98% to try and give her a little bit. So eventually I was like, I'm gonna flush her out. And I just stopped fucking like fixing my shelter. And the second she quit, like the second she left, it was gonna rain again, and I just ran. I got my machete. I was like, yes. Like they made it all like you see on the show. Like I'm like, I make like a little face at the camera when she's like, bye. And she's like crying, and I'm like, yes, right. And she leaves, and then everybody leaves, and I'm like, well, fuck. And I run over, and I just start hacking away, and I fixed my shelter in like 20 minutes, and it rained, and I was like, I'm dry, and nobody's fucking crying. Like,
And you were able to finish and all that other shit.
It was fucking dope. Honestly, dude, there was even a part of me where, whether it's real or not, I sat Indian style, and I sat there, dude, as it rained, and I just went like this, right, with my head. And I just thought about, you have to like lie to yourself, right, in these terrible situations. And you learn in the military too, dude. Like when you're going through shitty times, you just have to like you have to like psych yourself out. And you can't be like, oh no, I'm so wet and miserable. You have to think of like, when this is over, dude, Joe Rogan's going to see this. He's going to be like, black belt in jiu-jitsu, I'm going to get him on my podcast, right? And you're like, yep, that's what's happening, right? And like, I just psyched myself out for like hours. And as soon as I was done motivating myself, my partner woke up. And the first thing she did when she woke up, I just went through like a sick trance, dude, where I was wet, but I was like, fuck it. It is what it is. And she woke up, and the first thing she did was go, and I started getting mad. And she wanted the pep talk. And then she was like, again, a second or third time. She just wants me. And I was like, what? And then she's like, it's just an A, B, C, D, E. And I just went through a time of motivating myself. And then eventually I was just like, hey, you ever like in a really good mood? And like you go to a party and you're just having the best fucking day ever. And then you like walk in the room and somebody looks at you and they approach you. And you just went from being in a really good mood to listening to somebody, and the first words out of their mouths are complaints, and they're just like so negative, and the first thing they do is go, and they just start sighing at you, and she's like, yeah. And I was like, that's you. Yeah. And they didn't show that part, right? But that's how the whole thing started. And I ran off, and I did catch a crab, and I came back, and I was like, hey, I caught a crab, and her face lit up, and she's like, oh, awesome. I'm like, I'm not going to give you any unless you promise you're not going to quit. And she's like, well, I can't promise that. And I was like, because if you quit, you take half my calories, and that's all I've had in the last 6 days. I didn't eat anything. And she's like, well, I can't promise that. And I was like, bet. And I boiled the crab, and I ate it by myself, and she started sobbing, and she ran off. And I was like, I already know what's happening. The whole camera crew's gone for like an hour and a half. And I was like, I don't even know where she's at, and frankly, I don't care. And
I bet it was the best hour and a half of your life.
Dude, it was liberating, right? And
Did you pound off?
Yeah.
Did you take
oh yeah, 100%.
Like,
Right after you ate the crab, you strangle bait.
Yeah.
Oh, you used the crab, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you make the crab watch, actually.
Yeah. I like set it up. I tied it up. I was like, "You're gonna watch me fuck your crab friend. You're a cut crab." You know, like, and so like,
I've never cooked a crab before.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's new.
It's
yeah.
kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah.
They like watch. They're all angry, dude. They're like,
They're trying to fucking because they walk sideways sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta be
they
careful.
walk sideways, and they're like, "Oh, perfect. Your dick is sideways." I'm like, "Yeah, fucking perfect, dude."
You
Slammed it in the microwave.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
when I was getting a hot pocket.
Yeah. And so,
She comes back after what, an hour and a half?
yeah, she comes back, and then
Did the
she's
producer say anything to you, or is
nobody
it just
said
silence?
shit. Nobody said shit, dude. They're all gone, and then she comes back, and then like, she's like, "Hey, I have something to tell you," and I was like, "Please," and she's like, she was tapping out, right? And what's crazy is even in my vocabulary, even when right now I was like, she was tapping out, she actually was like, "Hey, and like, it's just, even though I'm on a podcast and it's everyday conversation, I don't even like to say the words like IQ, right? Like, I just, in my mind, I'm like, that does not exist in my fucking lexicon. Like,
Quitting.
yeah. Like, whenever you say I and you pair those two words together, I'm like, I refuse to say it even in everyday conversation. But she came over there and she just told me that. And she's like, okay. And she's like, I'm tapping out. And I was like, cool. Don't care. And if you watch the video closely, when I hug her, I'm actually doing a gable grip, which is a jiu-jitsu thing. And I didn't even notice till after. Someone's like, LOL. They screenshot it and they send it to me. I'm like doing anyway.
You were ready to choke her out.
Yeah. I was ready to just fucking boom. But I
Put in
can't
a
do that
body
because
triangle.
that's like wrong in today's culture, right? You don't want to body slam a female.
Is it though, on Naked and Afraid,
Equality,
if you choke
dude.
somebody out?
Equality,
Yeah, that's
dude.
true.
Equal rights, equal.
But she lied about her
lefts.
score.
Yeah, I didn't say it.
I said it.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Fuck these people. Fuck everybody out there.
Yeah, my whole thing is that like they're like, you already know me as like dark sex story Governale, but now I've been on a TV show, and after they send you an email and they're like, hey, you know, from this point forward, we're gonna monitor your social medias, you know, and if you want to come back or be on other TV shows, don't cancel yourself. And I'm like, oh fuck, and I can still joke about Mexicans. It's like the one thing that
Well,
I do.
yeah,
Right?
and whites, because you're
Oh,
half
yeah, my
white.
dad's white, right?
And
good there.
retards as well.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I have an autism bit, right, where like when I do comedy,
Yeah.
I say that I have autism, which I actually believe still to this day because I stim, right? And so it's kind of funny. They were like, so I've got a bit on autism, right?
Do you
And
really believe you have autism?
Well, my little sister convinced me a while back, right? And she's 11 years younger than me.
What's her doctorate in?
Facebook. Facebook and Twitter. Shout out Elon, right? And what's so funny about it is the reason I used to tell people, dude, I think I'm genuinely autistic, and I've got a bit on it, right? And without delivering the bit, whatever, I don't really give a fuck. The way that the bit goes is I set it up in a pair of threes. I do 3 things when I get excited. And the way that I wrote the bit is I was out with some buddies smoking weed. I don't smoke weed because it's a terrible thing, right?
Not anymore?
Never in my life, dude. Never
Sure.
in my life. Never,
Obviously.
ever. I
Obviously.
wasn't even smoking weed when my friends were, and I wasn't laughing for no reason. Anyway,
Obviously.
everybody's smoking weed, right? And they're like, do you think you're autistic for real? And I was like, dude, I took a quiz on Facebook that says I'm autistic. And they're like why do you think that? What do you do? And then I was like, well, I do like things when I get excited. And they're like what? And anybody that knows me can attest to this. You even see it on Naked and Afraid. I go like this a lot. That's stimming, dude. Right? Legit. So when I get really excited, I go like this with my hands, right? I started doing it, and people would be like, what is that? What the fuck are you doing? And my old boss, right? And when I was at Black Rifle, right? When NATO was over me, I used to get excited, and I wouldn't do it with my hands because I'm like, that's weird. So I would just look at him and be like, and he'd be like, what the fuck? What are you doing with your mouth? What are you, and
Well,
because...
NATO's autistic too. Fuck him.
So yeah. So shout out NATO, right?
Yeah,
So like
he's a
I
good
go,
dude. I like him.
I go like this with my hands, and then I stopped, and I was like, I go like this with my tongue, and then they were like, and we're looking around, and everybody's high, and I was like, and I come, and we all started laughing, right? And
Yeah.
so that's the bit, right? I'm like, I've recently been diagnosed with autism, and then people are like, oh, and I'll be like, well, sort of. I took an online quiz, and then they laugh, and I'm like on Facebook. And then I was like, for instance, I do 3 things when I get excited. And I'm like, I go like this with my hands. I go like this with my tongue. And then I get all quiet, and everyone's like in their chair, and I'm like, and I come, and everyone's like, ah, and they start laughing, right? But the whole bit, a lot of your comedy is partial truths, right? Like,
So you come.
So you actually do come,
yeah, just a little bit pre-cum, but then you find out it's a clap, right? And you're like, oh, fucking.
Nothing you can do there.
Yeah.
Ray Cash Care is always on the show, and he has told this story for years that he can come without being touched. And he's said it for years. He's claimed it, and then he said he showed everybody.
Yeah.
He did it
when
in
was
Buds.
Oh, he did.
He did it in his Buds class, and I know a third party who
There's
was at
no way.
this
So
That's
is
some
that
mind
real?
control.
He did it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's mind control, right? I mean, it's somewhat of a flex, right? Like, look at me. I'm
That's a pretty sweet flex, for sure. For sure.
right there on your IG handle. Can
Speaking
literally
of
come
coming
out.
on these shows, do they encourage you to hook up or not to hook up? Again, we'll go back to the Survivor story. They were telling him to hook up, and once the cast members got off separately, cast members were like, "Hey, dude, don't hook up." They want it for the show, but people will vote you out and all that other shit, and that's eventually how he got voted out. He ain't hooked up with a girl.
Gave somebody the clap, probably. right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Knowing him.
And then he
but
came
yeah.
without being touched.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, it's not. I mean, it wasn't like just whatever. I wasn't attracted to my partner at all. A, B. There was never any.
Because everybody asks, and I'm sure they ask you all the time of like, "Hey, did you guys have sex out in the
Oh,
fucking
people ask me
jungle?"
all the time.
Yeah.
The only two things that happened, and again, none of this came out on camera because I didn't bitch or complain about it, and it wasn't captured because we were like in our tent at night. One of the things that happened was that when it would rain and get real cold, we'd like cuddle. And one time I was just chilling, and she fucking went like this to my hand, and I remember looking over at her, being like not down, and I went like this with my hand with an open hand, and I pulled 2 or 3 times real hard, and then she kind of got the message, and I was thinking in my head like, what the fuck? What was that? Like, what? I'm not out here in the jungle trying to fucking hold hands. I'm just not. A, B, not attracted to you. C, there's another time when it was raining really hard and we were cuddling for the warmth, and I remember feeling her lips on my back go like this,
Yeah.
and I was like, and I just threw her off, and then she stopped, right? Like, and I was just like, dude, like we both smell like absolute dog shit, and I know that, and I can't even smell very well. I've got a deviated septum. But there was a time when we were just like sitting in style in this little tiny ass tent, and this didn't come out on camera either. And it was just quiet. And to pee, you have to get up and get out, and it's like a whole thing because like mosquitoes come in, and we had a mosquito net, and you're like, it was fucking terrible with mosquitoes. And so one time she's just sitting in style. We're like in a 3 foot by 3 foot space, and without saying shit, it's just quiet for hours. And then she's just like, and she looks at me, she's like, it is what it is. And I remember being like, dude, we just got Dutch ovened. Right, it was terrible, and I like moved the curtain. I go outside, and I was like,
It fucking stinks.
it was fucking terrible. She just farted like really bad.
Oh, God.
Right, and then, I mean, you know, I would at least if it was me, I would have gotten up and left, which I'm sure I did that. So it's like humans fart, big deal.
Yeah.
But like in a fucking 3 foot by 3 foot space, it was just terrible, dude. But there was no hooking up of any sort. It was hard, bro. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. To be
It
honest.
looks hard on TV. I think and again, the reason why we want to have on the show to talk about it is we all have the same questions when we watch this show. Is I feel like no matter where you go, it's on at a gym, in an airport, it's just on all the time. And obviously your cocks and all that stuff are blurred out, but it's partially something where I think as humans, you watch it and you think to yourself, all right, one, could I do this? And could I survive and make it? Because we all want to say we could. I'm not one of those people. I look at that shit and I'm like, that looks like a fucking nightmare, and I don't want to do this, and I have zero desire to do this whatsoever. And then 2, you look at it like, all right, well, there's 2 naked people on there. Are they going to fuck? And that's why you end up watching it as well, where you're like, all right, are these people going to hook up, hang out? Everybody seems real chummy at the beginning, and then it changes as it keeps going.
I despise my partner more and more every day. Like even till this day, I wake up and it's the first thing I think about, dude. I go and like
Your hatred for her is the first thing you think about.
it's the first thing I think about, dude. And then before I go to bed, I don't pray. I think of her, and I'm like, it's fucking terrible. No, I like literally date. Like at first we were cool, but again, a relationship, it's like fuck, I can't stand this person.
Yeah.
And just the more like, dude, if you're always bitching and complaining and crying, why would we hang out? It's fucking not.
And that's what I thought when I watched the show, prior to your episode. I was just watching other shows of it where I was like, man, if somebody's not working or not doing the thing, you could really hate this person to the point where you think about killing them every single second
dude,
of the day.
hate is a strong word, but like obviously there's some plotting that goes on behind the scenes on your own where you're just like, wait a minute, I'm giving her everything, right? Like I'm fixing the shelter. I'm fucking hunting and fishing. She went hunting and fishing a total of 0 fucking times. 0. And there's also another thing, because only certain things are going to make it on the air. Right? Because of time constraint. But there was another moment when I went hunting and fishing with her, or I went fishing with her. Excuse me. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is what we're going to do. We're going to fucking catch some fish. Occasionally we see fish pop up here. So here's what we're going to do. I found some rotten fruit and I opened them and I threw them in the ground. And every day that I would throw it, or I'm sorry, not on the ground, in the water, in the shallow water, every day that I would throw it, like real quick, you'd see fish pop up and eat it. But they're so fast. And I'm not going to spear them because I tried it. So I thought, okay, let me make this a little safe space for them. And so for 3 days, I threw maggots and the fish would come up and eat them. So I'm prepping them to believe that there's food in this area.
It's what you do with a corn feeder in a deer
Yeah.
area.
And
Same
mind
thing.
you, I've been hunting and fishing in my life a total of like 1 or 2 times. But you start, like, I'm telling you, brother, it's in your DNA to fucking survive. Like, we have these teeth for a reason, right? We have our canine teeth for a fucking reason. We ate meat for a long time. If you want to be a vegan, go for it. But like 1,000 years ago, or like 100,000 years ago, 60,000 years ago, like you're not going to exist, right?
Right.
And so, can you imagine a fucking caveman vegan? You know what I mean? Like, oh, fucking do not eat that. Fucking, hey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? Also, they didn't speak English, right?
You don't know
It's
that.
fresh though.
Oh,
You don't know
But
that.
it was
I don't want to
fresh.
assume their gender, right? I wonder how many
shouldn't.
genders there were in the cavemen.
More than today.
Cave, them, they. Yeah.
That's what they really cared about. It wasn't dinosaurs and shit or staying alive. They cared
Well,
about gender.
human beings and dinosaurs didn't exist at the same time, Ross.
Come on.
Nope.
That's
It's not the fucking Flintstones.
Okay, first of all, the Earth is 6,000 years old.
We've all seen the Flintstones.
The Earth is
dude.
6,000 years old, right? And there was no dinosaurs.
None, right?
At all.
It was all created from.
But
No, the devil made it up to
Yeah,
trick
dude.
you into
Yeah,
straying
dude.
from God.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, dude. Fuck, where was I going with this? I was fucking.
Humans were made to
Survival.
survive. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, I threw worms, like little maggots, in the water, and then on day 3, I was like, hey, we're gonna take the mosquito net. And I remember when I went fishing, the way that I caught fish was hearing. I heard a noise in the distance every day at like the same time. I'm assuming it was like 4 a.m. And so one day I just stand in the water with a machete, and the fish would spawn real quick, but for like 30 minutes, and that was it. So I was like, wait a minute. So the way I caught fish was I took bamboo, I rolled it up, there was a mosquito net, and I stood in the water at like 4 in the morning, and then when they would jump up, I'd catch fish. That's how I caught fish, right? Fucking nobody taught me to do that. Logic somewhat tells you to do that, but it's more the willing to survive that's in your DNA that figures it out, right? You could take a fucking idiot, and they could survive because it's in their DNA to figure it out, right? And so whatever. So I was doing that. And then what I did was I made like a little I made her do drills with me. Like, hey, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to pull. At what point do we pull? And she's like, well, just pull it up. I'm like, no. And she's like, just say pull. I'm like, we're going to scare the fish. So we're going to nod. Who's going to nod? Me or you? And she's like, I'll nod. And I made her rehearse it with me like 2 or 3 times. I was like, again. She nods, like military IA drills, right? And then we got in the water. I threw the fucking, the maggots. And then we stood there and I was waiting for the fish. And she looks around and she just goes, out loud, super loud. She just goes, this isn't going to work. And she just dropped it. And she grabbed this spear that we made and she ran off into the distance. And I feel like it's partially because she felt that the cameras were on her. And she's looking around and she just starts stabbing the water. And there's no fucking fish. She's just going, whoosh. And in my head, I'm looking at her and my eyes are all big. And I'm like, you fucking bitch, dude. Right? And I feel like she was doing it for the camera. But I didn't say shit because bitching and complaining and arguing doesn't put food in my stomach. So I just shut the fuck up, and I was just like, that was kind of one of the defining moments where I was like, when this shit's over, I'm never speaking to this chick again.
That's funny.
Right? And that's how it went. And I have no desire to speak to her again, right? She can hit me up right now.
For
Like,
sure. No, I get it. I
Well,
understand it.
Here she is, right here.
Yeah,
folks.
welcome out, Jessica. No. Boom. Exactly. Right, live on air. That's
Yeah.
how Dan wants to go out.
Yeah.
But now that you know what you know, having been on the show and everything else, do you watch other TV game shows like this and say, hey, dude, I would like to be on this one or this one or this one?
I would love to be.
Like Love is Blind was one of the biggest ones that's on TV
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Would you ever do that on Netflix?
I would do it just to maybe hook up once or twice, right?
You hook up for a while. I mean, you get to go on a full honeymoon and shit.
Now, dude, to be real, right now I'm focused on building myself and my brand, right? I'm doing like these little YouTube vlog where I drove down the fucking Guatemala and back. I got robbed by the cops and shit.
Oh, dude, those were dope as shit. So I watched them, man. Super high quality. And was it just you out there going to all these dangerous places?
Me and a buddy of mine, his name is Jan Milberg. I met him in Israel in 2010. What's funny about this dude is he was on his birthright. He's a Jew or Jewish, whatever, right? I can't.
You gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful.
Dang.
He's Jewish. He's fucking Jewish, dude.
Careful with the hard J though.
Yeah,
He's a
that's
fucking
hard
Jew.
That fucking Jew.
So like, dude, I met him
Put
in.
your clan mask down.
I met him on. Well, I'm half white, so. Anyway.
Okay, that's right.
So I met him in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, my culture is not your costume.
It sure isn't.
So
And my costume is not your bedroom. So
Whoa.
yeah.
My bedroom's not your costume. Yeah. We can go all day with this. Anyway.
Yeah.
My butthole is.
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
My grandmother's not your whorehouse.
Yeah.
And I understand it.
Yeah. My grandfather is not your stepson.
So he videoed all that shit you did down there because it was dope, man. I watched it on your channel.
Me and him, I met him in Tel Aviv, Israel. Mind you, I was working in Afghanistan when I met this kid. And what's funny is me and my buddy Bruce, we for some reason we stayed at hostels and we were both making like 6 figures plus in like 2008 or 2009, 2010. And we'd go on these vacations and we would try and act like we were backpackers. We would pay like $9 a day for a hotel, a hostel bed. And we'd stay with all these backpackers and be like, peace and love. And we'd try and play it off. But like it would always fail because my buddy Bruce passed out one time. He was drinking fucking Jack Daniels and he passed out listening to heavy metal that was so loud that when everyone came for breakfast in the morning, some chick grabbed a guitar and everybody's in a circle and she does the whole bring, and I swear it was like a movie. She was like, she's like warming her voice up, and then people are like, what's that noise? And they turn and my buddy's just getting eaten alive by the sun with a bottle of Jack in his hand and he's passed out and you can hear like rah, rah, in his ears and everyone's like, is he okay? And I'm like, it's hilarious. So I grab him, I'm like, he's fine. I throw him in bed, right? And we try and blend in with all these backpackers, but we couldn't fucking do it. So what we would do is people wouldn't leave us alone. They would just follow us everywhere. Like, oh, hey, guy. And so I remember we had all the like Iraq and Afghanistan like moto videos of like dead body, dead body, dead body. And so we'd be like, hey, you want to see something cool? Because this kid wouldn't stop following us. And we'd open the computer and he'd press play. And it would be like, let the bodies hit the fly. And it would be like, dead body, imploded head, dead body. And me and my friend Bruce would like smile. And then some like backpacker kid would be like, oh my God, why would you? And you just run off. And me and Bruce, because you're like serial killers when you're in the military. So we're like, that kid was so scared. And we kept doing that to backpackers for some fucking reason. I have no idea why. And then two kids walked up and we tried to scare them by making them watch like dead body videos. And I remember them looking at each other and they looked at us and they're like, yo, this shit's fucking dope, bro. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so we were like, hey, we're going to party. I would never go to a whorehouse or pay for sex ever in my life, ever.
Sure.
Not even 39 times or whatever. But
exactly.
I was like, if we were to do that, we would pay for you guys because you guys are fucking cool. Let's party like rock stars for the next week. And so we just had a fucking blast in Tel Aviv with these two kids, right? Jason and Jan, coolest motherfuckers ever, dude. And we partied it up. And I've got an Israel whorehouse story that I guess I could tell you about in another podcast. But
yeah,
all that shit happened. It was fucking great. And so when it was all said and done, we stayed in contact, and I'm in a group chat with these dudes. So I'm like, hey, I want to drive down to Guatemala and go save this dog, whatever. And this kid, Jan, is like, let's go. And so he flew out with me. And, dude, we had a drone. We had 360 footage, and we had GoPro shit. I documented the whole fucking trip, and it's on my YouTube. But it's sick, dude. We got robbed by the cops twice, right? It's dope as shit, dude. We went to some area where we tried to leave the hotel, and they're like, you're not leaving. And we're like, no, I am. I'm going to go down the street because we don't have Wi-Fi. And they're like, yeah, you're not leaving. And I'm like, ha, no. And they're like, listen to me, dude. You're not walking down the street. The cartel pass by here every night. I see them. If you go down, they might kidnap you. They might just beat you up. Probably best case scenario, but they're going to fucking wonder why there's a white dude walking down the street and you're not going. And it wasn't like, please don't let me go. It was like, you're not fucking walking down the street. I know you're paying to stay at this hotel, but you're not going. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then it hit us that we're at this beautiful resort and there's literally no one there but me, Jan, and like a family of 5. Mm-hmm. And they have a whole on resort with like 30 employees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're like, what the fuck? And then the dude that ran the manager had like military boots on and he had like a tough book computer, right? So me and my buddy were like, what is going on? And so we documented it, dude. It was dope as fuck. And then in the morning, I asked the guy, the security guard, like, hey, did they pass by? He's like, yeah, but it was only like 4 vehicles. It wasn't that many last night. So he claims that every night cartels pass through that area with like machine guns and everything, and they just control the route. And he said if they see anybody out, they think that they're a rat.
No shit.
Yeah. So it was fucking dope. It was dope as shit, dude.
And all this is on your YouTube channel?
I aired 1 episode last week. Another one will drop on Saturday, but I'm going to air 1 episode a week for the next 8 weeks. And
that's awesome. Well, tell everybody the channel.
JJ Governale on YouTube.
Okay.
If you don't sub, I'll
Yeah. Obviously,
What's the middle
on your
J
life.
stand for?
Jew-ish. Because it's me and Jan.
Oh yeah.
No, that's fucked.
Is it?
No, it's not. Hashtag, okay.
Hashtag stop Jewish hate.
Yeah, it's Jeffrey is my middle name.
Oh, gotcha.
But with a
Justin-
J, not a G.
Yeah. JJ Governale.
Yeah.
Right.
I probably would have left that out, but whatever,
JG
man.
Wentworth.
JJ.
I mean, everybody knows you as the dude from Naked and Afraid now. You got to really capitalize.
Yeah.
on
Before I was discussing Justin, I had a ton of sex stories, and they're still there. They're still there for
Tons.
sure, right? But like tons of
Tons.
stories, yeah.
Well, look, since you've been on the show a million times and done Drinkin' Bro of the Week here, we'll do Drinkin' Bro of the Week from one of our submissions. Again, anybody can submit. Just go to drinkinbros.com, click on the submissions in the top right-hand corner, and it comes in live on air, and we will read it. This one is from Andrew from Alabama. He's been a listener for 5 years, and he's nominating Dan Holloway. Holy shit. Okay.
Gross.
Reason for the nomination: Dan is one of my favorite human beings on this planet. He put no homo next to that, which is nice because we thought he was probably going to be a homosexual. After
I don't
reading
mind.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Either way, it's fine.
He is
Love is love.
the citizen I strive to be, and the only person I think that can answer the question: who would win one-on-one? Evan Smoke versus James Reese. Long guns, pistol, hand-to-hand.
Well, Reese is a sniper, so he would get the long gun probably.
Okay.
Pistol, the other two would be Smoke probably.
Okay. Pistol and hand-to-hand would be Smoke? Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's what you get, dude.
Evan
You get
Smoke
honest
is
answers.
he's the nowhere man, by
Yeah.
the way. Greg Hurwitz, our buddy, writes that series, a really good series.
And James Reese is
And there's
obviously Jack
obviously Jack
Carr.
Carr,
So that's great. This is what you get. You get real shit, dude. All you got to do is fill out that submission form on drinkinbros.com, and it comes to us live, and Dan will be forced to answer like that. And that's nice. Also, while you're there, we got some merch on the website. Buy some hats, some tees, some glassware. It helps support us in the show. And also, not one single cent of it goes to Ukraine. Justin Governale. Disgusting Justin.
Wait.
Thanks for being back on the show.
Bob, can you pop that picture up again?
Which one?
The one of the dick?
Oh, no. Dude, the show's over, bro.
Well, I mean, it's not over yet.
It's like
We're
impeaching
still sitting
Trump
here.
after he's out of office, dude. I don't
There we
need to
go.
see it
Blow
again.
that up.
No.
Put that- there we
No.
go.
No. God damn it, dude. Now I have to look away for the sign-off. For D'Anthony Holloway, Disgusting Justin, a.k.a. Build the Wall Governor. I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.